the subtraction one. So you have addition and mixed fractions today, and you have subtraction as well. Okay, now the long way around to this is changing them to improper fractions, then finding a common denominator, then turning them back into a mixed number. That seems like an awful lot of work. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at I'm going to try to change my color. Okay. That's so weird. Okay. There we go. I'm going to look at the fraction part first. So I'm going to take my step 1, take my 2/5, and I'm going to add it to 1/3. Okay. So what I do is I need to find a common denominator. 5 doesn't go into 3, 3 doesn't go into 5. So then I start looking. I can automatically take my denominators and multiply them together. And sometimes I'll be good and, sorry. What is going on?
It's just like a really tall guy upstairs.
I have really good peripheral vision, so I can, it distracted me. If you guys have these, like, you can multiply them together, but there's a chance that once you add the fractions together that you might have to reduce the fraction, right? To avoid having to reduce, I would always start with one of the numbers and see what the smallest denominator I can make is, right? So I go look, oh, 5 times 1 won't work. 5 times 2, that's not divisible by 3. 5 times 3 is. So now I know that my smallest denominator that I could have had is 15. So if I'm going to make both fractions 15, right, then the question is, 5 times what gives me 15? 3. So I have to take the 2 in the top and I have to multiply it by 3. And so I get 6. How do I go from 3 to 15? What do I have to multiply by? 5. So I have to take the 1 and I have to multiply by 5. So I get 5. So then my second thing is to add my numerators together. So I get 11 over 15. 11 over 15 does not reduce. So now my step 3 is I'm going to deal with my whole numbers. So 2 plus 4 is 6. And then I had my little fraction left over, which is 11 over 15. And that's my answer. Now, I understand a lot of things. I understand that there's calculators out there that can handle mixed numbers very, very easily. But here's the issue. While I will let you guys use calculators probably the majority of the school year, you will not be allowed to use calculators as much next year in IM2. And then the following year, when you take honors advanced math, you will not be allowed to use them at all, except for 1 unit on statistics, and that's it. So I want to show you guys like how to do this stuff, so then that way when you get to a point where you can't use a calculator, that you're not calculator dependent. Okay? All right, questions that you guys have before I go to a subtraction question? So basically just 3 steps. Find a common denominator, add my fraction together, then add my whole number. 3 steps. Okay. So again, my start spot, if you notice, my start spot is on the left-hand side in the middle. So we're going to do the subtraction one first. Again, I'm going to take my fraction part, and I'm going to do the subtraction with that first. So step 1, 5 over 6 minus 8 over 9. I need to find a common denominator. So I look, 6 doesn't go into 9, 9 doesn't go into 6. So then I start again. I could have 100%, if you want to make this 54, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I will guarantee you will have to reduce the fraction afterwards. Okay, so what I would do instead is I would say, okay, 6 times 1 doesn't work. 6 times 2, 9 doesn't go into 12 evenly. 6 times 3, oh, that's 18, right? 18, 9 will go into 18, so 18 is my common denominator. Okay, and then the question is what times 6 gives me 18? 3. So I have to take my numerator and I have to multiply it by 3. So 15 goes in the top. And then what times 9 gives me 18? 2. So now this is where it gets a little wonky. Okay, is that my step 2, right, gives me a negative 1 over 18. But I can't write mixed numbers as a negative, right? It gets a little strange. So my step 3 will still be my 13 minus 5, right, which is 8. But now what am I going to do with this guy? Like, how am I going to rewrite that, right? What I have to do is I have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow, turn that into 7. And the one that I borrowed is 18 over 18. I chose 18 because 18 is in my denominator here. So I borrowed 1 from the 8, made it a 7, brought that 1 down, and I'm going to subtract 1 over 18 from it. So this gives me 17 over 18. So I get 7 and 17 over 18 as my answer. That's a lot of work. Not all of them are like this. You will get maybe 1 or 2 in this section where you're going to have to borrow 1 from something else. In the other section with the addition, there'll be a situation where you get the numerator's bigger than the bottom, right? And so you have to carry a 1 over. But other than that, for the most part, they're pretty straightforward. Okay. Or you won't have to do any weird borrowing or anything like that. Okay. Questions that you guys have before I let you guys start? Okay, so task. Right now you don't see the 0-3. I'm going to take attendance because I know a couple people might be absent. I'm going to take attendance real quick and put in 0-3 into grade scope. So you'll have the 0-1. This was that page number 2, right, in your book. This was the page number 1, and then this was Friday's assignment. I will also post today's assignment, so in case you finish both mazes today, you'd be able to submit it today. Ideally, as you finish homework, right, I assign it, you finish it at home, you're going to turn it in sometime during the next school day, or you could turn it in that night if you finished it that night. Okay, so for example, I have assigned 0-4 for today. 0-4 is assigned today. When is it due into grade scope? By midnight tomorrow night. Technically, midnight tomorrow night. Why do I do midnight? I do midnight because it's not fair for first period